Hello everybody. Today I want to briefly discuss something interesting about this 3011 American Flyer. The 3011 is not only a pre-World War II engine, but it's also a pre-A.C. Gilbert era engine. This engine was made in 1926 when the Coleman family was still producing American Flyer trains along with other products. I don't really collect pre-war trains, but I've purchased a few just out of curiosity. I have these three cars that I run with the 3011, but I'm not sure what year they were made. I think they were manufactured a pretty wide range of years and could be just as old as the 3011, but I'm not sure. Maybe a viewer out there could help me with that. I also have this steam engine that was made in 1932. The freight cars and caboose that I run with it are from the late 1920s through the mid-1930s. As many of you probably already know, American Flyer trains from before World War II ran on three-rail O-gauge track, just as all other major companies used at that time. When I got this engine, I hooked it up to a vintage American Flyer transformer in the same way I would hook up any other train. I was rather surprised when it immediately took off and actually flew off the track. It didn't matter what speed I set the transformer at, it just wouldn't work right. So I finally posted my frustrations to one of the American Flyer Facebook groups that I'm in. One person replied that where most American Flyer trains run in the 7 to 15 volt range, this engine runs on 3 to 8 volts, so my transformers wouldn't work on this engine unless I put a resistor in the line to reduce the voltage from the transformer. I talked to my son-in-law, who's an electrical engineer, about this, and he said there's another way to accomplish the same thing. In this picture, you can see the posts for a 4B transformer. You might notice that I'm using the 15-volt constant pole as my base post, and the variable post is used as I would normally use it. If you're knowledgeable about electricity, then you might have already figured out where I'm going with this. Here's how this works. You'll notice that I have the knob set to full voltage. That means that 15 volts are coming out of the constant post and also 15 volts from the variable post. So they cancel each other out and the result is that 0 volts go to the track. If I move the knob to the 70 mile per hour mark, then there's still 15 volts from the constant post and about 14 volts from the variable post. So there's now 1 volt going to the track. That's not enough to start the engine, so I need to keep moving the knob to the left. When the knob is set to the 60 mile per hour mark, then there's about 1.5 volts going to the track. So I'll still keep going with the knob. At the 50 mile per hour mark, there's about 2.8 volts going to the track, which means the light is coming on very slightly, but the engine still won't start. At the 40 mile per hour mark, there's 4.4 volts going to the track, so now the engine is starting to crawl. When the knob is at the 30 mile per hour mark, there's 5.8 volts going to the track and the engine is moving. But to really get it going nicely, I go to the 20 mile per hour mark, which is 7.4 volts, to get the train running, and then I scale back to the 30 mile per hour setting where it runs very smoothly, as you can see in this clip from another video on my channel. Of course, the 3011 is on the inside track. The steam engine on the outside track, which as I already mentioned was made in 1932, runs on the same voltage as later engines, so it gets hooked up to the transformer the same way as my other engines do. So basically, the 3011 is hooked up in a way that causes the knob to be used the opposite way that it normally is used. I hope this makes some sense. If you don't plan to get any trains from this era, then I suppose you might not find this very interesting. But if you do get any, then this information might come in handy. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.